Shoot him, right there in front of the garage. The HOA president scream knifed through the evening as two armed officers advanced and the governor stood beside them like a witness to an execution. They'd been told I had bombs and rifles. They thought one bullet would bury the truth. They had no idea who would really fall. My name is Liam Cross. This is how my garage became a courtroom. How a lie became a weapon, and how the truth refused to die. The garage was my father's sanctuary first. After he passed 3 years ago, it became mine, a cathedral of American steel where every tool had a peg, every bolt was sorted by thread pitch, every surface wiped to surgical clean. At the center sat Dad's 1969 Camaro SS, not a car but a promise that if you build something right, it lasts. Dad was a cop for 28 years and ran this space like a precinct. What I found after his funeral changed everything. Behind the red Craftsman box, inside a fireproof safe, lay files, photos, and recordings. Dad hadn't just fixed engines, he'd been quietly investigating corruption inside our Oak Ridge Meadows HOA, phony invoices, rigged bids, and community money bleeding into private pockets. His last journal line, 2 weeks before his heart attack, "They know I'm close." I picked up where he left off, documenting everything instead of trusting anyone. Cameras watched the garage. The Camaro's trunk hid encrypted drives with evidence. Meanwhile, the HOA president, Marla Kent, wielded bylaws like a cudgel. She ticketed my trash cans for being 12 inches off, my grass for a quarter-inch too tall, my garage door for the wrong white. Most neighbors folded. I filed, logged, and waited. Patterns emerged. Anyone who questioned spending or asked for records got the same treatment: fines, inspections, foreclosure threats. The money trail led to Darren Cole, a developer whose company won every big contract at inflated prices right after Marla took office. The operation was bigger than nuisance fines, it was engineered pressure to pry homes loose cheap. One morning, I reviewed footage. Whenever Marla came near my place, a black Escalade idled 3 blocks away, plates tied to Cole's firm. That afternoon my phone rang. Marla, voice stripped of swagger, begged to meet alone. At the Oak Ridge Meadows Community Center, she looked smaller than I'd ever seen: sweater, jeans, no makeup, a wedding band rubbed thin. She slid over a recorder and told me the truth. Cole had trapped her with fabricated embezzlement proof, threatened to ruin her husband's health coverage and her freedom unless she enforced his agenda. Worse, she said Cole had engineered my father's heart attack using undetectable compounds timed to his threats. She tried to warn Dad, but fear for her family caged her. "He'll do the same to you," she said. "He's planning something that will make your death look justified." The recorder held 3 years of calls, including Cole admitting to Dad's murder. It wasn't enough to convict by itself, but it was enough to fight back, and to survive. That night, another call changed the board. Governor Mark Ellison arrived alone, no security, no cameras. "Your father wasn't the first honest person Darren Cole killed," he said. The FBI had 18 months of work, but needed local proof and resilient witnesses. My files plus Marla's recordings could seal it, if we moved off book. Ellison warned Cole had insiders, even in state ranks. He handed me a secure phone and legal packets to vault our evidence if anything happened. The counterpunch came fast. My mortgage was called over phantom violations. The county health department arrived on an anonymous tip about hazardous chemicals. Power cutoffs. Internet suspensions. The pharmacy flagged prescriptions, the bank froze cards. Then Walter Briggs, my 73-year-old neighbor, delivered a coached statement after men threatened his granddaughter. He saw me hauling suspicious bags and meeting shadowy visitors. It built probable cause for a raid, on paper. During a health inspection, an assistant planted a transmitter behind Dad's bench. I found it. It told me two things: they could breach my sanctuary, and they were getting sloppy. Sloppy meant scared. The manufactured crisis hit at 7:43 a.m. On a Tuesday, 6 patrol cars, 2 unmarked sedans, a tactical unit. Through my cameras I saw Ellison step from a state vehicle with 2 federal agents. The 911 caller. Marla, reading lines Cole. Crafted, bombs, weapons, strangers at odd hours, phrases that flip protocols from knock and talk to guns out. The point wasn't a search. It was a shooting. They sent Officer Tyler Reed, a 24-year-old rookie prepped with intel, portraying me as a domestic threat and trained to escalate inside confined spaces. As he crossed my threshold, he missed the puddle of transmission oil by the Camaro. His boots skated. His finger tensed. The gun barked. The bullet didn't hit me. It struck Ellison high in the abdomen. Everything exploded, then crystallized. I dropped to my knees. Pressed the wound, cinched my belt across his torso, and counted breaths. Ava Morgan, a former RN now in IT and the only person I trusted, raced in, took compression, rattled instructions to the agents. My cameras captured the entire sequence, along with Marla's live stream, meant to frame me, now preserving her shocked whispers that she knew the outcome. Paramedics hauled Ellison to Riverside Medical Center. Agents secured my footage, Marla's feed, and, thanks to Ava, backups of Marla's frantic messages to Cole as the plan collapsed. That night, Marla walked into the hospital with a worn briefcase and finally stopped running. I have 3 years of everything, she told federal agents: money flows, shell companies, recordings of Cole planning Dad's and Detective Nora Green's deaths, and details of corrupt officials greasing permits, foreclosures, and court dockets. She demanded witness protection for her daughter before use. They agreed. From there, the center of gravity shifted to the people Cole had underestimated, us. Ava launched Operation Garage Rules, mirroring and distributing the unedited live stream to every Oak Ridge Meadows resident. Neighbors watched the rookie slip, the governor fall, and my hands keeping him alive. They heard Marla's panicked calls to Cole. Fear curdled into fury. Walter Briggs publicly admitted he'd been coerced, dozens followed. The Whitfields, a family Cole had targeted for foreclosure, hosted backyard assemblies. We flooded the HOA's own system with legitimate complaints against the board. Trash can distances, illegal parking, off-season flags, exactly the petty infractions they weaponized against us. Now the rules cut both ways. Intercepts showed Cole unraveling. Ava captured his encrypted chats with Deputy Morales, a state cop feeding him investigation details and plotting accidents for witnesses, especially Marla. Federal agents moved quietly to box them in. We held the emergency HOA meeting in my garage, wired for audio, video, and safety. Governor Ellison, pale but upright after surgery, insisted on attending. Marla stood before neighbors she'd punished and confessed without notes: conspiracy, fraud, intimidation, accessory to murder. She described targeting families, forging justifications, and funneling contracts to Cole. Then Miles Davenport, the treasurer, shuffled in late with private security and offered a thin resignation that dodged his laundering role. The room wasn't buying it. The door opened again. Officer Tyler Reed, out of uniform, read a statement with shaking hands. He'd been briefed with fabricated intel, trained to treat my breathing as aggression, and primed to fire. He resigned. He apologized. He offered to testify to the pipeline that grooms rookies into weapons for men like Cole. We voted to dissolve the board and elect an interim council under federal oversight. Ellison closed the night. This garage is what democracy looks like, a place for honest work, patient evidence, and neighbors refusing to be ruled by fear. Arrests rolled out at dawn. Darren Cole on racketeering, Deputy Morales on conspiracy, Miles Davenport on laundering, a string of officials who sold signatures for favors. Marla Kent, now a protected witness, pled to reduced charges, forfeited assets, and testified. Ellison recovered and championed reforms, independent HOA audits, whistleblower shields, mandatory evidence retention for raids, and training that inoculates rookies against weaponized intel. 6 months later, Oak Ridge Meadows felt like a neighborhood again. The stolen funds returned. The foreclosure pipeline collapsed. My garage, once Dad's chapel, then a battlefield, became the community justice room, where Tuesday nights we read budgets, compare bids, and teach neighbors how to file records requests that bite. The Camaro still idles low and steady. A wall honors Detective Nora Green, my father, and families who lost homes to the scheme. Letters arrive from across the country, other communities copy our playbook. Ava helps them set up secure evidence lockers and mirroring rings so no truth can be disappeared. Final tally, Darren Cole took 47 years in federal prison after flipping on a multi-state network. Miles Davenport got 32. For laundering. Marla Kent served 18 months and keeps testifying, her daughter is safe under protection. Officer Tyler Reed speaks nationwide about integrity and training reform. Governor Mark Ellison signs the Community Empowerment Act into law. People ask what made the untouchable touchable. Not one hero, not one headline. Paper and patience. Cameras and neighbors. A belt, a steady hand, a recorder, and the decision, again and again, to keep the garage door open. So here's the clear ending: the criminal machine is dismantled, the community governs itself in daylight. And the place where a bullet should have ended everything now begins most evenings with a torque wrench's click and the quiet certainty that we built this right, and it will last.